everyone. I am so excited to show you my newest creation. I've had this idea for, I don't know, probably close to a decade, and it's only recently that I started trying to really put it into practice. And what it is taking my data online in a pretty simple form, but a form that I can share with everyone, including my SLPAs, my teachers, even parents if I really needed to. And I'm really excited about this because it's not just a way to share data, it's also a way to progress monitor and to create homework too. So there's lots of things all at once in here, and let's take a look at the data sheet that I've created. So first, this is the page you're going to first get to when you sign up and download the, well, I guess it's not really download, is it? Once you get to the link on for the speech data template by Superpower Speech, it will say on there which version we're looking at. This version was updated on 2.15, but if I update it again, it'll change the date, and your copy will automatically update as well, as long as you save all the rest of everything you're doing as a copy. So that's going to be the very first thing you're going to want to do. You're going to see this and then you're going to go, oh no, I can't type into it. Well, there's a reason for that. I don't want you typing into the original. This is just a template for you. So you're going to go to File, and you're going to go to Make a Copy. And then you're going to call it whatever you want to call it. So you could say your name, Cherie's speech data template. And this is going to be your new template. And if you want to make any changes on it, things that work better for you, then go for it. This is your template now. This one now, you own it. So anyway, I'm going to go off of this one so I can show you all the different features of this. And after we go through a bunch of features of the template that I made, I'm going to show you a few ways to customize it in case you're less familiar with Google Sheets. Now, I do recommend that nobody use this if you don't know how to use Google Sheets at all. I'm not going to be able to provide you with a full tutorial on how to use Google Sheets. But if you just need a little bit of help with tweaking and things like that, I think you can figure it out on your own, but I will provide you with some pointers. Okay, let's start here. The first thing you're going to see is that, wow, there's this blue stripe here and there's information already in there. Well, don't worry, this is just an example because I wanted people to know what exactly they're getting themselves into here. So what you can see is I have in here a date. I have the initials of the SLP, which is me, and I put this in here because my SLPA uses the exact same form, and that way she can put her initials when she is seeing the student. The number of kids in the group, then the number of minutes, because I do need both of those for Medicaid billing. If I've billed Medicaid yet, I can put a yes in there. If I haven't yet billed Medicaid, I can put a no, or I can just leave it blank. The activities, I'm going to put some kind of narrative in there, like students practice articulation sounds while completing a Valentine's 100th Day challenge page. I actually going to put that part in before we even have the group, if I'm able to. That way I don't have to worry about it afterwards, and I already know what we will be doing. From there, though, I might add a little bit of like how their effort was. They had good effort. In my goals, I'm going to put in here what my goals are. So I'm going to say are in words. I want it really simple and short, right? And then I'm going to say are in sentences, and then I'm going to say pronouns in sentences. So I kept it really nice and short, and then I put in how the kid did on that day. And I could do that by filling in the information as I go along during group. And if you only have one kid at a time, then that is the best way to do it. However, if you have groups of 3 or 4 kids, like I often do, then I'll use Post-it notes, and then I'll just type it in right after the session is over. So here's my data. This student did 70% in words, 50% in sentences. She used the word she correctly 80% of the time. Effort was good, and I could choose out from the drop-down menu. I did assign some homework, yes. We're going to say that it was not yet signed, and this was the homework, and I typed it in here. I wrote practice the following words 10 times each every day, and I just made up some words because this isn't a real example. Really, since the girl's working on R, I should probably put some R words in there. And oops, I forgot. I didn't put the student's name up here. So oops, there's Jenny. Now what you're going to see, and is kind of my favorite part, is the data page tab here is at the bottom. But if you go over to the next tab, it says homework suggestions. Now remember what I've already typed in there about what Jenny was working on today and what her effort was. And poof, it auto-populated into this field. The date is in there, what Jenny worked on is in there, her effort is in there, the fact that I assigned homework is in there, what I put in for helping me at home is already in there, and then there's going to be a blank spot for the parent's signature. So it's totally ready to go for parents to know what their kid worked on, how their kid's behavior was, and what they can work on at home to help support them. So let me show you. I'm going to do another one here. We're going to make up. So that was on the 14th. Let's say the 15th. It was me again. Today there were only 2 kids, but still was a 30-minute session. I haven't billed Medicaid yet. Activities I'm going to put in here before the group begins. Students worked on articulation sounds in sentences while playing Candyland, and then that's a trigger to myself. Oh yeah, I better get out that Candyland game before the session starts. This kiddo did not use R in words today. We only practiced in sentences, and she's doing a better job. She got 60% today. Nice job. She actually had great effort because she really likes the game Candyland. I did assign her some homework, and I'm going to write it in right now, and it's going to say, practice using rooster, road, recess, and run in sentences with good R sounds. So it's super short, simple, something that's actually doable for any one of our students. And now let's look at our homework suggestions. Poof, it's in there. And we now, oh, they didn't do yesterday's homework, so now it looks like they have 2 homeworks. But let's say they actually did do yesterday's homework. The parent's really on top of things. The kid is really motivated. They did the homework. They signed it. Now when we go to the homework page, it's going to say that yesterday's was signed so that the parent can be like, oh, I already did that one. I don't need to do that again. If you don't feel comfortable having yesterday's homework show on there again as well, or if you have a couple times in here in your data page where like maybe you were sick, and if you're like me, there's no subs, and so maybe you don't want to announce to the parents every single time that you were sick or absent or at a meeting. So you put in your data that you were out, because of course you need to put that somewhere, but you don't really want the parent to know that you were absent that day. Well, you can just go, you can click on the number of the row, and then I like to hit Control and click on it again. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but that's what I do. And then I go to Hide Row, and it hides it. And so that way, even though it's still on my data page that I was absent, when I go to the homework suggestions, they don't necessarily have to see that one. And maybe you don't even want them to see the old homework because they've already signed it, so they don't need to look at it again. And I can just hide that row as well. And then if you ever want to get those back, you can go over here to these little tiny arrows. Good luck touching them. There is a way to open those back up again if you've got super fine motor skills. There you go. So you can open those back up again. They're not good for good. Over here, progress monitoring is the next thing you're going to have. And what I've found is that I really like having my data not from my daily data, but from progress monitoring sessions where I really know I'm going to get at least 10 productions and it's in a more controlled environment and I already know what my words or my sentences or my targets are going to be. So before the progress monitoring, which I would ideally like to say happens once a month, although it may not happen quite as often, I'm going to have my words or my sentences or my stories ready to go. So let's say I have run and rooster and careful because she's working on mixed stars, and we're going to do early and etc. So I come up with 10 words. She practices those 10 words as words because it's auto-populated that goal 1 is words, and she got 60% correct on 2-1. Okay. Great job. So there we go, 60%. As soon as you get that 60% in there, it's going to make a dot on your graph down here, which is pretty cool because let's say you do this same one again a week or 2 later, and you do the same words. You're just going to copy and paste them. And this time she gets 70%, and woo! Look at that. Although it is pretty tricky, the fact that it just shows the 60 to 70 and it looks like it's even maybe more growth than it actually was, you get the idea, and it is really nice to see the progress. As you scroll down, you'll see that it auto-populated goal number 2 was R in sentences, and then you can pre-write out your whole sentences like, Ronnie the rooster was really happy to realize that it was almost summer, right? And then for Gilmore Girls here, we're going to say Rory and Lorelai are drinking strong coffee, right? So we got our things in there. And oh, and sorry, this person got, let's say she got 30% because sentences are pretty hard for her, but it should auto populate down here. So you have one data point. Next time she got 44%. Now you have 2 data points, etc. So this is pretty cool now, right? So we have our progress monitoring. Now we're going to click over in the next tab, which is called practice cards. Everything we put in a progress monitoring is going to show up here in practice cards. I made these kind of big, but you can play around with the size and make them whatever size you want by using down here on the numbers and on the letters, just by adjusting the size. And what you can see is that all these different things that I progress monitored are going to be bigger. That was goal 1. Goal 2, we have the whole sentence here, so we can just print it out and have the kids practice reading it. You could even write entire little stories and then print those out. That's for our tick. For language, you could be putting in there past tense, words that turn into irregular past tense and have the kids work on that. Or you could put in some conjunctions like but, or, if, and then print those out and then hand it to the student and say, make a sentence using the word and then your progress monitoring that way. So I think it's a great way to make it visual and to make it so that you can redo the exact same progress monitoring tool if you want, or you can change it up and give them some new words to practice something new. Okay, so we've gone through the first 4 tabs: data, homework, progress monitoring, and practice cards. Now, the next tab down here is called articulation steps. And this is something that I love for visual for my students who are working on articulation. You might not find this useful at all, but my kids are super motivated by it. And what I do is I tell them that criteria. I say that in order to move up on a step, you need to have at least 80% 3 times on one step before we can move you up. And once you get past the steps, you're going to graduate from that sound or graduate from speech, depending on, what the kiddo is working on. So let's say my friend Jenny here she started working with R, and we started her at the syllable level, and we have to type up here. In case you want to type down here, it's not happy. You need to go up here to the FX area. So syllables, so she tried a bunch of times and she was below 80, but then finally she got the hang of it. She was at 80, and then she was at 90, and then she was at 82, and she even did a few more sessions, but I only need to keep track of 3, and I was like, great job, now you get to move to word. Well, we all know that word is trickier. So first we had to do pre-vocalic R. And it took a while, but eventually she got there. She got an 81, and then she got an 83, then she got a 94, and I was like, great job, now you get to move on to vocalic R, ha 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 ha. And we had to go back to the syllable level because, yeah. So I'm going to teach you a trick. I just learned this last year, but it's a beautiful trick when you're working in sheets. If you hit Command and Return, if you're in the FX area here, and you hit Command Return at the same time, it will allow you to move on to a new line. So I can go down here and I can say vocalic R, and then I can type in again, and now we have 2 lines instead of just 1. So for vocalic R, it really did take her like 3 months to get the hang of this, but that's okay. I didn't bother putting in the stuff that was below 80 because that might get kind of depressing. I waited till she was at 80. She got it once, she got it twice, she got it 3 times, and I said, boom, we're on to the word area. And then I went up here and I hit Command and Return, and then I did again, vocalic, vocalic R in words. It took her a little while, but not too long. She got the hang of it, and she was at 83, 86. Oops, that said 96. Sure, let's say she was at 96. And then, oh my gosh, one day she was 100. It was amazing. And then I was like, wow, you get to move up to multisyllabic words. And then I keep going up that way until the kiddos at Structured Conversation, If you have a kiddo that's moving really fast, they can get up this ladder so fast. And it's really motivating for the kids, and it's great for the parents to be able to see, oh, these are the different steps before my kid can master their sound. And that's why the kid isn't using the sound properly in conversation yet, when in speech, he's only working on it on the word level. So this is just a visual. You don't have to use it, of course, but I find it really useful, and parents have also commented that they find it really useful. The last tab down here is formulas. Don't worry about this page. It controls the drop-down menus. So if you accidentally get rid of this page, you will be ruining your drop-down menus, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, so there I've just walked you through my entire template. Now I'm going to show you a few tricks for using Google Sheets and how to customize this just a little bit. So let's go here back to data page. Now, again, when you first get this, it's going to look like this with your examples. Now, you don't need these examples after you've watched this video. So you can be like, I'm all good. I don't need this. And then you're going to take and you're going to highlight that area and you're going to hit delete and it's going to go away. And you're like, yay, it went away. But you also want to get rid of that weird blue line because nobody needs a blue line in their real data. So you're going to go up here to fill color. And then you're going to go white, and then, whew, you're ready to go. And it should work, yep, that as soon as you get rid of it on the data page, it's going to show up on the homework suggestions. It will also disappear. Let's go back to the data page. When you get your data page, it's only going to look like 3 goals. It's going to be goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, but there's actually, if you go to these tiny little arrows here, there's actually up to goal 8. And the only reason I put that is because I recently inherited an IEP with 8 goals in it. Now, they wrote it to be 2 goals with 4 objectives each, but each of those objectives had to be measured. So anyway, I gave lots of opportunity here for goals because of that. But if you don't need all those, which I hope you don't, you can take all of them and highlight them, go to the tiny arrow, go to hide columns, boom. Now you're down to just the 2 goal areas, which is what I hope for everyone, that you're only trying to maintain 2 goals. Then you decide, you know, I only have 2 goals and my activities are taking up a lot of space. I want to move those over. So you can move those over there. You can move things around, etc. And then you're like, you know, I wanted to print this. Go to print. But it looks really weird because on the second page, there's all these numbers. Well, those numbers are actually notes. And I put those notes in there to help you for the very beginning when you're first learning how to do this. But once you watch this video and you take a look at the notes and you start using it, you don't need these notes. Matter of fact, you want to get rid of them. So on your template, you're going to go up here to the little all-encompassing box to highlight everything. And then you're going to go to Edit. And you're going to go down to Clear Notes, and then all those notes will disappear, so you don't have to worry about that on this sheet. However, that only gets rid of the notes on the one sheet. You are still going to have notes on other sheets, like right here. So again, you'll want to go up, click there, go to Format, and clear your notes on any page that you want to print. Progress monitoring, the practice cards. Oh, here's one more trick about Google Sheets. So you can see here on goal 2, this is really long, and if I wanted to do this several different days, I wouldn't be able to see everything because this is in the middle. This rooster is actually part of Ronnie the. So what I would do is I would highlight this row, or any rows, or the entire sheet. Let's do the entire sheet. Highlight the entire sheet, go over here to this little button called text wrapping, and then I would go to the middle one, which is wrap. And what that's going to do is it's going to wrap the words for you so that you can now type in the next box and actually see everything that you've written. I don't know why Google Sheets doesn't automatically do that, but sometimes when you're cutting and pasting, it just doesn't do that. Okay, one more thing that I'm excited to show you. So let's see. So we have, oops. So we have our friend Jenny here, right? And, oops, I wanted to show you. So she worked on this 100s challenge, right? But there was another kid in our group named Danny. And he did the same beginning part. He had different goals and he had different percentages, but the beginning part's all the same. So once I do Jenny's, I can just highlight these and then go over here to Danny and cut and paste them right in by hitting Command V for paste. And now that part is taken care of. I just need to personalize it with his own goals and his own effort and his own homework, and you're good to go. So I could easily, for one group, let's say I had 3 kids in the group, I could have 3 of these open, and then as soon as the session's over, I quickly type in their percentages because I've probably been doing tally marks on just a little post-it note. I love having things digital. I love being able to share it easily with my assistant. I love that I can go and do a push-in service and not worry about the fact that I forgot to bring all my pieces of paper and all my folders because all their data is already online. There are ways to do it that are expensive, and some of them are pretty awesome ways, but this is a really cheap and easy way to take online data. So I hope that this is really useful. I hope you love it. Let me know if you have any questions. I will try to answer them. I'm not a genius with Google Sheets, but I'm sure some of you out there are and can probably give me a few tips. So thanks so much, and I'm really excited to have you try this out.